Hello. Well, today I'm going to be sorting out this Jarvis plane. Now, I've been after a Jarvis plane for a while and one came along, so I thought very nice too, thank you. And this is it. So it's a bit like a spokeshave. You have two hands, but the beauty of the Jarvis is it's got this very large sole underneath, very large flat sole, concave cut. So as I say, a bit like a curved spokeshave, but it's ideal for smoothing around timbers. So the sorts of things you might perhaps get with the legs on a stool or a rake handle or something like that. Very nice indeed. So I'm going to, in this film, be doing a little bit of restoration on this plane, sharpening it up and then testing it out. And the cat's meowing in the background. I've been trying to encourage Tom into the workshop, but the leather is just too powerful, the smell of it. He doesn't like it. I think it upsets his smell buds. Cats, obviously, as you know, smell far more better than us humans. I think about 15, 20 times better or something like that anyway. And there's been a mouse, so I'm keen to have the mouse located. It's not inside, it's outside, but I want to get it before it gets inside. So I've been trying to encourage the cat to pop in here. So I'll take the blade out. And it's actually rather nice. It's a very sturdy bit of blade. It actually tapers. It's going to make F stones, I think, on the chip arm here, but the actual Jarvis plane itself doesn't appear to have a maker, so maybe it was made in the workshop. I don't know. You can see where it's been turned on the lathe. Anyway, what I want to do is really do the minimal restoration. Now, with any wooden plane, you can either do quite a sort of in-depth restoration, or you just give it a minimum. I like to give them the minimum myself because I like to keep the patina on there still. So what I'm going to be doing is cleaning out this throat area a little bit, giving the whole thing just a little very gentle wash with a bit of mess, just a rub over. And I will also then give it a bit of boiled linseed oil just to keep it happily on its way. It's not in a bad condition actually, all in all. The plane arm, and a chip breaker, I will take this apart and I'll make sure we're lovely and flush with our chip breaker, and I'll give a bit of attention to the actual cutting edge. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So first of all, just a quick wash with a bit of mess, and it's really just to get any grime off. It does sort of have a slight diluting effect on the French polish, so I don't want to over soak it, but at the same time it does help if there's anything that's, you know, preventing parts from working well. With the wedge itself, I obviously want that to go in and out easily, and these often collect a bit of dirt or a bit of burring. So again, I'm just wanting to scrape the muck off. This one's not in a bad way actually, it's all quite nice, not chipped. And inside, again, it's not too bad. Just get rid of any of the rough spots, any bits of rubbish which have fallen in there. Don't want to upset the geometry at all. Soak a bit more rag in here, and that will get any little bits out. Just want the plane basically to sit nice and squarely and flatly in here, and it's a good chance just to clear out the spiders and anything else that might be lurking. Yeah, it's quite a lot of muck coming off on my rag. Now I know some people, they soak their planes in cider vinegar and have various mixes of meth, cider vinegar and boiled linseed oil, and you can do those sorts of things. As I say, I personally prefer to leave them as original and as untouched really as possible, but I do want a plane that's functioning, so I think it's worthwhile just having a bit of a general clean out. I'm getting quite a lot of sort of debris, understandably, out of here. I'll do this a little bit more and then I'll get onto the blade. So with the blade I'm going to get the cap arm off first of all. So just loosening the cap arm screw. They're lovely solid pieces these. Look at that, nice bit of tapered blade. And there's my cap arm. So what I want to look at here is basically a few things really. Is my cap arm flat to the surface of the blade? And I think it is fairly good actually. So I will give that a little clean up on a diamond stone, just to make sure it's totally flat. And then I'll do a little bit of work on the actual blade as well. Now, lots of different ways you can do this. What I like to personally do is put quite a lot of work on the flat of the blade to get that into nice condition. What I know some people do is they spend ages doing the inside Incannel curve here and they don't worry about the back, but actually if you want to get it working nicely and cutting down some of the work, get the back flattened off and a good edge on there, then you don't have to do so much on the tricky Incannel here. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be using diamond stones because I rather like them, and leather strops to help with this. So I'm starting with a 600 mesh diamond stone. Got a little bit of the trend oil for lubrication. And I'll just take the back of this blade and get some of this muck off. Comes up fairly quick actually. Back edge is not bad. Back of the blade is rusty in places, but the back edge itself doesn't look too bad at all. Now it's coming. So what I'm trying to do is where you've got it nice fair, I want it to be nice all over that cutting edge. And then it'll be far easier when I come to do the Incannel curve. So a few more minutes on this. I will take it down to a 1200 after I've got the 600. It's quite mucky when you get old tools, isn't it? You forget how mucky they can get. Just get some of this debris off my diamond stone. This is a monocrystalline diamond stone. So yeah, they're very nice actually. Monocrystalline, basically the theory goes the diamonds are of more uniform height, so you'll get a better sort of flatter cut with them. So that's really what sort of differentiates the very cheap and the more expensive diamond stones. This one's a DMT Duro Sharp. It's quite a nice big one and I like it a lot for plain irons. I'm quite old-fashioned in some ways because I do also use oil stones. I quite like oil stones. I know they're not so much developed these days, but I use that and the diamond. Yeah, see, that's beginning to get close to what I want. Do a bit more. I'm trying to use the whole area of the stone, not very scientifically, I know, but try and get the whole stone to wear out at once. Please do go on and on and on, but it's nice to try and keep the wear as even as you can. Tiny bit more. I'm quite encouraged actually because this is looking quite nice. The fluid, I know a lot of people don't bother with it, and you don't really need it. Some people use water. I quite like it because it does lubricate the surface a little bit as you're doing it, and it also is a means of getting rid of all the sort of muck, all the rusty bits of metal that would otherwise clog up. So I quite like it. There we are. Right, I'll take that down now to a 1200. But you can see what I've got there is a nice, good edge. This is the back of the plane, so I'm just making it flat. but it'll make it so much easier, as I say, when I come to do that side. So one of these, you can flip these over, they're quite good. Flip it over, doink, doink, like that. I'll pop a link down below where you can get these in case you're interested, as well as this stuff. So this is the finer mesh, this is a 1200. Again, I'm just trying to go over the whole surface, get that nice. It's funny, when these tools were obviously made, I mean, I'm guessing this Jarvis, I think it's a fairly early one actually, is probably about 1860 at a guess. It would have been a very common tool in its day, because obviously wheels and all the wagons, you would use the Jarvis plane to smooth off your spokes. So you would draw a knife or spoke shave your spokes down a bit, get them roughly to shape, and then you'd use your Jarvis plane to clean them up and get a nice good finish. I've popped a film up on looking at old wagons, in fact a couple of films, so if you want to look at how the woodwork goes on an old wagon, there will be a couple on my channel. Right, that's beginning to look good. That's the back, you see. What I'm worried about is this sort of first 1/4 inch, getting that to be shiny, shiny, shiny. I'm not worried as we go up, because I very much doubt in my lifetime I'll ever get it much beyond what I'm doing it regardless. So that's good. What I'm doing next is I've got a homemade leather strop. It's one of the good things about doing leather work, is you can obviously stick bits of leather to simple paddles of wood and you make yourself a nice strop. Bit of green compound, which is quite good for ferrous metal, and I can just give the back of this plane a polish. Now the stropping turns things from sharp to super sharp, so I am a great advocate of stropping, and I strop most of my tools. I've been doing a lot more stropping since I've been doing the leather work, partly because I've had a good supply of leather obviously, but partly because in leather work you want your tools to be really sharp, and the stropping really is the way to go. I go down with diamonds and then I strop. That's looking quite nice. Okay, so I've got my flat back and it's nicely polished up. I'm quite happy with that. I think it's catching the light a bit. What I will be doing next is doing a little bit of work on the inside. Now the inside actually isn't bad, and I don't want to go massively distorting bevels or anything. What I have is, again, it's a diamond hone. It's a curved one. It's called a wave. Again, I'll pop a link down below so you can take a look at them. With these, some people I know swear by them and some don't get on with them, and people will say quite understandably, well, it's curved, but the curve will only sort of function for a very limited area. If you have a smaller gouge, you'd obviously use it down here, but it's obviously changing in shape and you can't use more than like 1/2 inch, which is totally true, but that's partly why I've put the effort into the back, because you haven't got to take much metal at all off this front now, just enough to rekeen that edge, and again I can give it a strop. So I know what people mean with these, but I think they're fine if you just do a little bit. So I'll put this on the bench, get my angle, feel it, and just give it a little touch over. It's not got to be very much. There we are, round I go. So I'm just following this contour and getting a little bit of newness on that edge. It needs a bit more, but I'll carry on. So I've just gone around that edge and I've got it nice. It's at 600 grit, so I will be doing a bit more work on that. But obviously in pressing this across the stone, I will have got a tiny little back burr on here. So a final little touch over on the back, just to get that off, and then I know I'm all good. Oh yes, that's more like it, that's what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do next is get a bit of polishing on this inner edge, and that would be good with the blade. So I'll do that in a minute. The other thing I want to check while I'm here is that the chip iron sits nice and flat. What I want to do here is make sure that the chip iron sits nice and flat, so that as it takes a shaving up, it goes across and gets ejected. If there's a gap obviously on there, it won't do that job very well. So I'm going to also be flattening off this chip iron, just a couple of strokes, it won't need much, and that will keep that going along happily. I need to do a little bit more work in the middle there. So with the chip iron, it's really not bad, so I'm just going to literally get the dirt off. Make sure that mates up nicely. Just check it against it once again. That all looks nice. So I've got some boiled linseed oil here, and I'm going to put a bit over the plain body just to keep it nice. And I'm using boiled linseed oil because it dries quicker. If you just go for the ordinary linseed oil, it's absolutely fine, but it does take longer to dry. And I'll just use this bit of dirty rag. Don't need very much at all, I just want to nourish this wood and make it get its lovely colour back. So just a quick rub over and you get this beautiful patina coming through. It looks lovely. I do like these old wooden planes. They are very nice. They've got the real sort of, I suppose, a romance of who's used them over the years. And you can imagine someone in their carpenter shop, in the local village shop, making the wheels, a bit like we go to Quick Fit nowadays. Someone will come in and say, "Oh, spoke's broken on my wagon. Can you help me out, please?" And they would doubtless do some magic to get your wagon back on the road properly. Very good book actually by George Strutt called The Wheelwrights Shop. Talks about Jarvis planes and lots of other things in there. Nice old book, they're very interesting. There are a few of them actually in the series. There's the Village Carpenter and things like that, well worth reading. Right, a little bit on the wedge, and that's great. I've got the sort of the muck off this wedge, so it will go in and out far more easily. There we are. I'm lucky with this. There's signs of some ancient woodworm, but it really is not bad. Final clean up. Hands will soon do that as you use it. That's nice. Okay, going to assemble cap iron next. So lovely old handmade screw there, and it's massively solid. So just set this about 1/16 of an inch back from the blade and tighten without stabbing your hand. I have done it once, you don't do it twice. Let's check the position, make sure it's parallel, it's all good. Final tighten, and I do it on the bench. And yep, the blade creeps forward a bit as you tighten, but I think that's all okay. So that's my blade done. I'm going to do a little bit of polishing in a minute on that inner surface. I just want to check that I am still on profile. So I'm just going to polish the inside curve a final time. So again, bit of leather, bit of stropping compound, and I'm just going to rub the blade. So what I'm doing here is rubbing that inner curve on the leather as a strop to give it a final polish, and that will just make that cutting edge rather nice. It's funny, the stropping is the last step, and it does make a very, very good cutting edge. That's why people obviously used to strop their razors in the days when you used to use the cutthroat razor. So I've just got it bent over a bit of hammer shaft here, gives this the right curvature, and I'm able just to take a little bit of fine metal off. That's the black ending up on the strop. It makes that edge very nice indeed. Well, it's working pretty good overall. I'm quite happy with that, and on green wood it will be an absolute delight. My shavings are a tad on the larger side, but on dry wood not so much what I want. On green wood absolutely fine. But yeah, I'll leave that set like that at the moment. If I need to, I can always tap it to change the cut, but that's looking pretty nice overall. There you are, that's my Jarvis plane brought back into service. So very pleased with that, and I look forward to using it on a nice chair project or something sometime. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one. Any comments below? Bye then, till the next time. Bye bye.